Now there are many form templates that you can use that are called instant forms, where you can go ahead and select over here your table or your query that you want to base your form upon, and then click a button, boom, you got an instant form. That's the good news. The bad news is that these instant forms don't allow much in the way of flexibility, unlike if we created our form in the design view, which is my favorite way because you get all the flexibility on designing your form. In any case, if you need something quick and instant, here we go. Go ahead and select your table, or again your query that you want to base your form upon. Come up here, click on Create, over to the Forms group. Except for the form design, all these other commands in creating a form are instant forms. They don't allow for much flexibility, but then again, if you're not picky, this is what you can do. Let's start with the Form button. You can read about it when I hover over it. I'll click on it. Boom, instantly creates a form based upon this table that I had selected. Now what it did is it pulled up all the fields from the customers table, but because the customers table was also related or has a relationship with the orders table, it listed the orders table down below. Now if you don't like that, you can click on it and hit the delete key and it will delete it. Because right now I'm in the layout view. Most of the forms, the instant forms, that when you click on create, it takes us to the layout view in case if you want to go ahead and rearrange the layout by clicking and dragging the fields around. You can tell you're in layout view one of two ways. When you click on one of the fields, it'll outline it in orange and it allows you to select a field, or in this case the form within the form down below. We have the tables form, then we have the order form within it. How do I know? Because you've got two different navigation bars here that you can navigate within this form here, and then the outer one is for the customers. Now to be able to be in the actual form view and not mess with the layout, then to change it, come up here on the Design tab, the related contextual tab to what we're working with, which are forms. Over to the Views group, click on the View button. If you haven't associated yet or recognized quickly what the icons mean and what view that they're tied to, click on the drop down arrow. There's the name of the view to that icon associated with that icon. So go ahead and click on the form view. There we go. So we've got the two orders that this customer's made. So I can go ahead and advance to the second order of the two, or I can advance to the next customer and see their 5 orders that Home Builders has made with us. Okay. If you like that, go ahead and be sure to save your work. That's the good news. The bad news is if you want to go ahead and customize it, it's kind of a pain to say the least, as opposed to just starting from scratch. But you can still do it. And we'll cover that, how to modify your forms, in a later training video. But here's something that you need quick and instant. Let's go ahead and close out and not save it because I've got more to show you. To the Create tab again, to the Forms group. How about, well, let me click on More Forms. How about a split form? Click on that. Well, before you click on it, you can read about it, but what it does is when I click on it, it's a different form that has, well, the split view. You can see the split bar right there when you hover over it, and you get those arrows pointing up and down. You can click and drag that so you can see more of the bottom section than the top section, and of course vice versa. So the top section is actually going to be the form. Below that's the datasheet view. Now again, by default, when we create instant forms, it dumps us in the, well, the top section in the form layout in case if I need to move my fields around. If I'm good with that, then I can just come up here and click on the View button. It takes me right to that top section, the form view. The datasheet view down below still stays as the datasheet view. Now if you haven't noticed by now, when I click on the drop down arrow, I only have 3 views. And in the previous form that I created, I only had 3 views. But in the previous training video, when it came to switching views for that form, that we had 6 different views. We had the datasheet view. We also had the pivot table, pivot chart view. So why doesn't it show the datasheet view here? Well, usually all instant forms that you create won't have the datasheet view or make available the pivot chart or pivot table view unless you create the form from scratch in Design View, which is my favorite way of designing forms because it allows for the most flexibility. Now, why would you want to use this form? Well, what's nice about it is that I can see all the fields up here up at the top without having to come down here and scroll over. So why would I want this down below and not just have the form up at the top? Well, here I can go ahead and click and see the next record without having to be in the form view and click over and then click back. I can see the records before and the records after. And then if I need to make any changes, I can come up here and make all the changes without having to find out what fields are available and scrolling over. So you get the best of both worlds. Let's go ahead and close out of that, not save it. Click Create, and let's click on the More Forms. Multiple items. Go ahead and click on that. Again, every time we create an instant form, it's always going to be in Layout View first, in case we need to move things around. And the way you can find out if you're in Layout View is, of course, to click on the View drop-down arrow. It's highlighted. Or another indicator is that anything that you see in orange around the fields, or even a little tag for the table that you can select, that means you're in Layout View. You can modify it by moving the fields around, which we'll do in a later training video. But in any case, we're in Layout View. And the multiple items form allows you to view multiple records from a table in a form of a spreadsheet. So let me go ahead and click on the View button to actually go to the form view. And if you watch my Excel training videos, the spreadsheet, it's another way of saying tables in Access, because the Access tables look just like a spreadsheet. But the difference is that in Excel, when you click in a cell and you keep on typing, see as I keep on typing, well, this wraps the text and it stacks it, okay? Let me go ahead and hit the Escape key so I don't save that, and then go ahead and close out, not save that. Come back up to the Create tab to the Forms group, and how about a blank form? Click on that. It's in the Layout view, and then over to the right hand side it has the field list, a list of all the fields for all the tables, but what's expanded is the customers. Why? Because that's what I had selected, so if I want to ignore them, then just click on the plus sign, expand the name of the other table here, billing info, then I can click and drag those fields over onto the layout. I'll just go ahead and do customer. Let me close that, collapse it. Customer name. And then notice after I click and drag the first field, then it says, okay, this is the table you're focusing on. If you want additional fields, and you can see down below fields available in related tables, that you can go ahead and expand those and click and drag them as well. As long as, of course, they have a relationship. Otherwise, if they weren't related, they wouldn't be listed here, okay? So then watch what happens when I go ahead and click and drag other fields to it. It stacks it. So again, we're limited on the control. We can't just move the fields around as I'd like to. So it creates something quick, almost an instant form. But if you don't like the layout, then, well, this isn't the form for you. Let's go ahead and close out of this and not save it. Then Create, Forms. My favorite one is the Design view because you can create it from scratch and have complete control. Let me click on it. It opens up, and, well, speaking of controls, it actually has controls that we can add to our form, like a button. Over to the right-hand side, we have the field list, the list of all the fields in this table that we had selected here when we clicked on the Design Form button. And then we can just go ahead and click and drag those fields. And notice when I click and drag, it's not stacked tight, one on top of another. I can hover over it, move and drag them around. In any case, we'll learn this a little bit later when we learn how to modify our forms. But for right now, Design View is the way for me. Go ahead and close out of this, not save it. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.